I'm glad to be here to represent President William Ruto, who had graciously accepted to be with you today, but because of exigencies of duty, he was unable to come and asked me to come and represent him. You are aware that we are facing a serious problem with the drought, and he needs to have a hands-on approach, and he is busy with our development partners trying to marshal and harness resources to make sure that no Kenyan dies from starvation. And the situation we are facing in the country of possible starvation arising from drought is relevant to what brings us here today, agriculture and food production, which is something we really want to put a lot of effort. So if you allow me, I'll read his remarks as he would have communicated to all those who are here today and the nation. The Governor of Nairobi County, members of Parliament, ESK National Chairperson, Madam Annabel Krienya, Nairobi International Trade Fair Chairperson, council members, live governors, exhibitors, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be here today for the official opening of the Nairobi ASK International Trade Fair, which returns after a 2-year break occasioned by COVID-19 pandemic. This year's theme, Promotion, Innovation and Technology in Agriculture and Trade, aligns well with the government's plan of transforming agriculture and economy to provide better quality of life for our citizens. The theme underscores our government's commitment to promoting innovation and technology for the growth of the agricultural sector as an enabler for economic transformation and sustainability. This trade fair, therefore, affords us the opportunity to showcase modern technologies that are useful to making Kenya's agricultural sector globally competitive. Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently facing unprecedented high food prices, occasioned both by internal and external factors. The government is alive to the high cost of living that has persisted over the past years. The price of maize flour in particular, which is our main staple food, has been high for the better part of this year. Over time, there has been a steady increase in food imports, with edible oils, wheat, and rice constituting our highest food import costs. Food, just like any other imports, translate to export of jobs to the countries of origin. As a country, we have an opportunity to invest in production of these foods to maintain jobs and also increase income. This food and nutritional situation is of concern, with our annual production for major food crops, notably maize, beans, wheat, and rice, falling way short of our national demand and consumption, pointing to reliance on food imports. Agriculture is the engine that drives Kenya's economic and industrial development, particularly in food production, income generation, and provision of raw materials for manufacturing. The government is committed to achieving sustainable agricultural growth and transforming agriculture from subsistence to a commercially and globally competitive industry. Our administration has prioritized interventions in the agricultural sector as one of the 5 pillars of our economic recovery plan, alongside micro, small, and medium enterprises, housing and settlement, healthcare, and finally, a digital superhighway and a creative economy. Agriculture has the potential to lift many people out of poverty that continues to afflict the majority of the rural population and place millions more families on the path to greater wealth. On the consumption side, reduced food prices can result in substantial saving for majority of Kenyan households. Strategic interventions in agriculture, therefore, hold the key to unlocking the tremendous promise of rapid growth in wealth generally and incomes in particular, achieved simultaneously with equally rapid reduction in poverty and inequality. Additionally, we will endeavor to avail affordable working capital to enable farmers purchase inputs and undertake other necessary farm husbandry. On average, households spend 54% of their income to purchase food. Reduction of food prices and subsequently cost of living can be achieved at the same time. Agricultural growth creates more jobs than any other sector due to its linkage to many sectors of our economy. 2/3 of Kenyans derive their income from agriculture. Increasing income to farmers translates to many of our people having more income, which they can spend and spur even more economic growth. Agro-processing accounts for more than half of our total manufacturing sector. Agro-based manufacturing has placed us at a global competitive advantage since raw materials are locally sourced. Investment in agriculture will therefore undoubtedly spur growth of the manufacturing sector. Erratic rainfall, high cost of inputs, particularly fertilizer, among other factors have led to reduced production of maize and other food crops. The prevailing drought in the arid and semi-arid lands has worsened the food situation in those regions. However, moving forward, we project to produce much higher yields following the wide range of interventions that we have begun to put in place towards increasing our national productivity. Ladies and gentlemen, exhibitors, the livestock subsector plays a very important role, and its growth is expected to contribute towards food and nutrition security and the realization of Vision 2030. The population of the country's dairy cattle is estimated at 5.1 million heads. In the year 2020, milk production was estimated at 4.1 billion liters, valued at Kenya shillings 181.6 billion. At the current demand, the country is self-sufficient in milk production. The beef cattle population is estimated at 16.5 million. Although most beef is produced from rangelands, dairy cattle cows contribute substantially to the national supply. In 2020, the country produced 244,000 metric tons of beef, worth Kenya shillings 103.8 billion. Sheep and goats play a key role in pastoral households, food security, and income owing to their short generation intervals, high adaptability, and versatile feeding habits. The country has an estimated 36 million goats and 25.3 million sheep that produced 80.7 metric tons, 80,000 metric tons of chevron, worth Kenya shillings 36.6 billion, and 79,000 metric tons of mutton, worth another Kenya shillings 33.6 billion, respectively. Ladies and gentlemen, as a government, we are working round the clock to increase agricultural productivity that will eventually lead to increased supply and eventually lower food prices due to supply and demand market forces. There is therefore need to ensure that farm inputs are affordable to farmers. In particular, fertilizer has been flagged as an immediate intervention measure because of its immediate impact on agricultural productivity in both the medium and long term. It is against this background that one of our first pronouncements during the inauguration was to lower fertilizer prices from the current 6,500 to Kenya shillings 3,500 per 50 kg bag. To demonstrate this commitment, we have since rolled out the Fertilizer Subsidy program that has already made available 1.4 million bags of DAP fertilizer to farmers in regions that are planting this short rain season. Modalities to ensure availability of fertilizer for planting in the 2023 long rain season are in place. The net effect of these interventions is an overall increase in the agricultural output across the critical subsectors, including maize, tea, coffee, rice, wheat, and horticultural crops, among others. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, climate change continues to be a challenge to food production systems in the country, as evidenced by frequent floods and drought. To respond to this and build production resilience, the government initiated and is supporting and promoting various adaptive programs. To cushion our farmers from adversities of climate change, the government has committed Kenya shillings 3 billion to implement the crop insurance program, whose objective is to manage risks in agriculture. To date, the project has covered 1.3 million farmers in 37 counties, targeting maize, Irish potato, and green grams value chains. Further, the government, with the support from the World Bank, is implementing the Climate Smart Agricultural Project in 24 counties over a 5-year period, with the objective of increasing agricultural productivity and building resilience to climate change risks in the targeted smallholder farming and pastoral communities in Kenya, and in the event of an eligible crisis or emergency, to provide immediate and effective response. A total of Kenya shillings 27.9 billion is available for this program. Besides supporting community-led projects and mitigating against natural calamity-induced losses, the project also focuses on upscaling climate-smart agricultural practices and puts emphasis on interventions that promote and facilitate adoption of increased productivity, enhanced resilience, and support development of agro-weather forecasting and market information system and their dissemination tools. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to conclude by reiterating the government's commitment to the agricultural sectors as follows. Firstly, provide adequate and affordable working capital to farmers for increased productivity. Secondly, comprehensively manage agricultural-related risks to cushion farmers from uncertainty. Further, assist 2 million food-deficient farmers to become surplus producers through availing affordable finance for inputs and agricultural extension services to increase productivity of key food value chains, maize, dairy, and beef carcass. Additionally, reduce food imports by 30%. Also, revamp underperforming and collapsed export crops, including rice, sugarcane, coffee, cashew nuts, pyrethrum, avocado, macadamia nuts, and fifthly, value addition to tea through blending and breeding. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I once again commend the Agricultural Society of Kenya, the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperatives, the Governor and the County Government of Nairobi, exhibitors and all other stakeholders who contributed towards making this trade fair success. It is now my pleasure to declare the 2022 ASK Nairobi International Trade Fair officially open. God bless you, and God bless Kenya.